Hello there everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am going to be going over the top 5 games that I'm excited for coming out in 2016. I did the first part at a later time. You can check out the annotations at the end of the video if you haven't seen that and you want to see the other ones that I talked about. This one's going to be probably a little bit different because it's only 5 games to talk about this time. However, the big difference being these are the top 5 games, so I might go into a little bit more detail with these games. Not crazy a whole lot, but just a little bit more, because they are the games that I am the most excited about this year. And there are still a couple of games that didn't quite make this entire list, but that doesn't mean I'm not excited for them. Like a couple games like that I could put on that list are like games like Crackdown 3, Quantum Break, like The Last Guardian, a couple of those games that just didn't quite make my personal list just because, like, they're gonna be awesome games, but they aren't like the type of games that, like, I don't even know what I'm trying to say at this point. There's a lot of games coming out this year, but if I had to sit down and really pick and choose what games I'm very, very excited for, these were the ones I did. So if you guys want to check out the first part of the video, like I said, you can check out the annotation at the end of the video, or I'll put it in the description below, and you guys can just click it from there. So, without further ado, let's begin. Game number 5 that I'm the most excited about is, in fact, Uncharted 4. Uncharted is an amazing, amazing series of games. It literally, Naughty Dog never, ever has ceased to amaze. And this game is going to be no different. I already have it predetermined as one of my first nominees for Game of the Year, because they're one of those few companies that no matter, it seems like every time they make an Uncharted game, it's automatically up in the running for it. So the graphics are unreal. It's crazy, the things that they've been able to do with Nathan Drake in all of his adventures. It was really cool also the fact that this year last year, they put out the Uncharted trilogy as an HD remastered game, which was awesome because it gave you kind of a little bit of time to like prep for Uncharted 4, which it's had a couple delays. It was, initially it was going to come out last year, and then, now it's kind of been pushed to this year, and then they got another recent, well, not so recent, but it got another push, over into, is it March or April? Hold on a minute. Yeah, it is April. I'm sorry. I couldn't remember for a second. Yeah, it's April 26th is when it comes out. And again, like I'm super stoked for this game. Like I said, the graphics that they have are phenomenal. Some of the best, character design in any game series ever. And they're also bringing in a new feature into this game that's a little bit different from the other games, because like the way the game flows and moves, it's almost like a story, or not like a story. I mean, but it's like a movie. You can watch it, and it's one of those few games that a lot of people enjoy watching as opposed to playing, just because of the fact that it looks so good and things are so smooth and everything is so submersive and like seamless that you can really just sit down and watch it like it is a movie. But one thing they're introducing in this game, which it's not going to be to a huge extent, but there are a couple of parts in the game where you can actually choose what Nathan Drake is going to say. Now, being that it is a story game, I try to avoid pretty much all contact with the game. I saw, what they've shown at past E3s, Sony Experience, things like that. But otherwise, I really try to steer clear of stuff like that because I really want to enjoy a game like that for what it is. So, like, the only example I've seen was one still screenshot where it has, him talking to someone, and his 3 options are to talk about his 3 journeys from the past 3 games, So, that'll be an interesting idea as well. And I just, like I said, the action in the games are amazing. I actually think, to this day, it's probably one of the best third-person shooters that I've played. And, what it can do with the PlayStation controller is really, really well. In the past, it was awesome. I'm kind of excited to see if they decide to do anything with the PS4 controller. Because my biggest thing I get upset about with the PS4 controller is the fact that it's got this touchpad right here. See this touchpad? It just you click it like that, but it's also a touchscreen there. And what makes me mad is that it has this super cool button that, you know, like the Xbox controller is just an Xbox controller. So it's got this like sweet, awesome button, and no games use it. Like Ubisoft uses it for their frickin' maps, but like the best game to ever use it was Infamous. You could use it as like you went like this, and you used it as a spray can. And it was awesome. And like there hasn't been a lot of games to really utilize it, and I don't think they're going to, but it would be really neat if they did something with it, just because, like I said, I think it's a very undervalued and unappreciated thing. So I'm very excited for Uncharted, and I really, really do think it'll be awesome. But I want to move into the next one because I'm taking a little bit more time than I wanted to be on doing all this stuff. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is actually a game that I got to play this past weekend. And if anyone else knows what it is, you know exactly what I'm talking about before I even say it. And that's Tom Clancy's The Division. It's an awesome, 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 awesome fun game. The beta for the game was this past weekend. It comes out on March 8th, I believe, right? Let me check my notes. Yeah, March 8th is when it comes out, and it's a super awesome fun. You know, a lot of people want to like have different titles for it. Some think it's like, you know, a third-person tactical game. Some think it's a MMO. Some think it's a MMORPG. You can call it whatever you want. To me, it was a super hell of a fun time. It was great. It was fun. I got to play with some friends online. The hit detection in the game was great. The actual map of New York was actually beautiful and very, very, very detailed. There were certain areas of the game that were kind of closed off, but it was nice because from the alpha to the beta, there were certain shops that were open and closed. So it makes me kind of like hopeful that going into the future with the game, like in the little, like I guess like over a month they have to like fine tune everything, that a lot more things are going to open up. The game was full of Easter eggs. If you ever heard of a game called Grow Home in the alpha, you actually could find a little bud statue around an eye. In the beta, but myself actually found Sam Fisher's like, you know, little headset on someone's desk. So that was neat to have that. But also, the Dark Zone area was really cool. It's an area of the game where you can find some of the best loot, but it's also a PvP like room. However, just because you come across people doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to want to fight you. So it was really cool kind of dealing with that environment as well. And like I said, the city itself was gorgeous. The weather effects I thought were really good. I really like how they handled the customization in the beta. But I'm very excited for that game to come out as well. It's been in development for a very long time. And it's nice because I think it'll be one of those games that works nicely alongside with the development of Destiny as well. So I'm really excited to see what The Division brings to the table and moving ahead in the future. Number 3 is a game that I cannot stop talking about. And that game is No Man's Sky. I can't tell you how excited I am about this game since the minute I laid my eyes on it. I was so worried that I would never get to play the game too because of the fact that the studio developing it pretty much at one point lost everything in this like crazy flood, and the only thing they actually had on back file was No Man's Sky. And it's been in development for a couple years now. It's pretty much made by like 10 or 15 people, but it's getting like the AAA development like treatment because of the fact of how the genius engine they built into the game. And they're starting to get a lot of competition from when they first started talking about the game. Like you have all kind of games that are out now, you know, like you know, like Star Citizen, and I'm drawing blanks on some of the games I want to talk about. There's like another popular one that's been in early access for a long time on Steam, but there's lots of games coming out with it. But the formula they have literally makes it so that you have an infinite universe to explore, and it's really cool how immersive everything in that game is as well. You can literally be on the coast of a beach on a planet, get into your spaceship, fly all the way out, and as you're flying out, you can see, you know, you travel through the atmospheres of the world, and it literally is seamlessly you're into space. But going from space into the planets, that to me is beautiful because you literally are like breaking the mold of entering atmosphere, and you can see how the world is created. Like you can see it from like whenever you go flying in a plane, you can kind of see the land as how it is, like, you know, almost set up as like grids across like the land. and that's how this is too. But it's really interesting also how it has the engine is basically like one little formula that generates everything. It generates what the name of your planet could be, ecosystem, and the ecosystem alone, if you think, would take a lot of stuff. So you literally, the chance of you running into one of your friends is like insanely difficult because there are just so many planets, and it's gonna be so awesome just to be able to like start discovering things, looting things, even the combat in the game, because I didn't think it was a game that would have like really strong combat, but it does have some pretty cool features built into the game, and it just looks so awesome. It really does. I love the style of it. I think it'll be a really neat game. It's supposed to come out sometime in June. They haven't had an official release date on the game, and I really hope it does come out in June because I've been wanting to play it for such a long time. I'm getting the really bad itch to really like want to play it. And like a lot of people, it seems like people either really like the game or are kind of like about the game. Like I said, me personally, I'm really excited about the game. I've just been following it for a long time. If you know me, you know I'm a sucker for art styles in games, and that to me has a very edgy, very cool art style to it as well. And I'm just very excited for that game. So that's number 3. Now going into number 2, and someone actually spoiled my number 2 in the comments last time, and it's not a bad thing because it is an amazing game. But Final Fantasy 15 comes in at my number 2 game of the year just because it's freaking incredible. If anyone got a chance when Final Fantasy Type 0 came out last year, if you pre-purchased the game or bought the game after a certain amount of time, I actually think they might even still do it, I don't even know. But when you bought the game, you were invited to play the Final Fantasy 15 episode Duske, which was like a nice little demo that puts you in one area of the game. And holy, you want to talk about beautiful, holy freaking crap, that game is pretty. It is one of the prettiest games I think I've ever played in my life. I don't know much about the story, but basically you play as 4 guys that are on a quest to go and save somebody. Who that somebody is, what their role is, I have no idea, because again, when it comes to story games, once I'm interested, I stay totally the hell away from it. Because I really want it to be like the first time me doing it. But the combat is cool because it doesn't apply that old, like, not really, I don't want to say old as in a bad thing, because I love Final Fantasy games. I literally just bought Final Fantasy X 10-2 HD on PS4 like 2 days ago, so I could play that again. But like, it brings a new combat system. Like, it's very active and it's very like sort of like movie like from the Final Fantasy VII movie, Advent Children. And it's great because like your main character has like a bizarre amount of weapons that he uses that kind of tailors to a lot of people's wants and needs. But the world itself is pretty. The environment of the game, I mean, it's all rhetoric at this point with Final Fantasy, because to me, Square Enix, even when they were Squaresoft, to me, they've always been the developer that was always seemed to be ahead of the game. I'm a huge sucker for Kingdom Hearts. I like a lot of the Final Fantasies, even though I haven't played a good majority of them. But the things that they do just seemed to always just be like the tip of the iceberg for a lot of people. So I'm excited to see the story that comes out of it. On March 30th, they're supposed to announce a release date, which is kind of weird to me. I kind of wish they would just say like, when the release date was, instead of kind of like, like fish, line, hook, and sinker in it. But either way, I'm still very excited about the game because what I played from the Duske episode Duske was freaking awesome. It was actually one of the few things that got me into YouTube, because I recorded a lot of me doing it through the PlayStation and would upload it to my own like personal outlets before I did YouTube. So it was kind of one of those things that got me, like, pushed me over the edge to start doing my YouTube channel. But needless to say, Final Fantasy 15 I'm very excited for. I really liked the cast of characters, and I think it'll be a very good development story. Also, you get to drive a car. Can't beat that in a Final Fantasy game. Now let's move into number 1, because I'm trying to stay time conscientious. Number one most looking forward to game of this year. And I know for a good part of it, I said I was trying to stay away from games that didn't have concrete release dates. and I've kind of faltered here and there a bit. But my number one most favorite and anticipated game for 2016 is Horizon Zero Dawn. This game just it hits every soft spot I have. It has an incredibly strong female protagonist, which she looks awesome. I don't know if they showed off her name or anything, but basically, it's sort of like a cyberpunk game meets like a Stone Age like game. So I don't even know, would you call it like Stonepunk? If that's not a thing, Chatterack 2016 Stonepunk. It's a Stonepunk game, and so it's like it seems like the technology is sort of like people that were in the Stone Age, but instead of dinosaurs and monsters, you have these giant mechanical wonders just roaming the plains, and it seems so freaking cool. It's so freaking cool. So like, basically you like survive off of these machines that are wandering in the world, and like you have this bow, and it's so cool. Like you can set up traps, you can use like sort of like incendiary bolts and like explosion bolts, but the monsters themselves, the scale of the monsters themselves is impressive by itself. And what's interesting, the most interesting thing about it is the fact that it's made by the developers who developed Killzone, but they've always said that they wanted to do something different than Killzone. So this is their chance by entering a third person kind of like open world setting, which is awesome because like one of my favorite games of last year was Tomb Raider, and I love Tomb Raider, and I get a very Tomb Raider feel with this game, but also being that it's a new like IP, I really like when companies try to make new games, because who doesn't like new stuff? I mean, yeah, like I'll take an Uncharted 5, 6, 7, 8. I know Naughty Dog can always make a good Uncharted game, but there's certain lines that I think you have to draw with certain characters, not because you don't love the character. Like obviously, everyone wants to see their favorite character come back. But at some point, a lot of times with these guys, these heroes need a break. They how many times do you have to save the world before like the rest of the like bad guys in the world are like, he might be able to stop me, so maybe I just shouldn't waste my time doing this. But no, Horizon Zero Dawn brings a lot of interesting things to the table. Like I've said with the rest of these games, the world itself is beautiful. I like the idea that this like primal versus like technological, like I like that these two worlds are like meshing together to where you still have like the kind of like really neat like I said, like Stone Age kind of elements, but they're mixed in with like this like very like steampunk, cyberpunk kind of like warp to them, and it's really fascinating. I do think it'll be the most interesting game to like try to merge things like that. So I'm really excited about it. It's definitely my favorite game. Looking forward to this year. And like I was saying, there were a lot of other games I wanted to talk about, like one of which was The Last Guardian. I think that'll be a really, really unique game this year. Just like a couple other ones, just to like kind of go down the list of things I didn't get to talk about, where like games like I was saying earlier, like Crackdown, Gears of War, if it happens to come out, The Legend of Zelda, Mafia 3. There's like lots of different games I wanted to talk about, but these, I think, once I sat down and looked at it, these were the ones I was absolutely the most excited for. I guess if I were to make a special nomination for this video, like I did in the last one, it would belong to The Last Guardian. So I don't want to go into too depth because I've talked for way too long than I wanted to. So I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you guys so much for watching part 2 of my most anticipated titles of 2016 special. If you guys like the video, please hit the like button, and please tell me what you guys are looking excited for. What is your biggest anticipation of all the games coming out this year? And it doesn't even have to be this year. If something's not technically street dated and you want to talk about it, by all means, talk about it. Because I want to know what you guys think. I was really excited by the feedback that the first vlog got, and I really am hoping to get that same kind of feedback for this one as well. And I already have my next vlog planned, because I'm trying to be a lot more proactive with the vlogs. I promised it back in November, and the holidays really derailed a lot of that. but I really want to try to do at least one type of vlog-ish video a week, if not every other week. So what I want to do for the next vlog is I'm going to do a 10 facts about Chatterak. That's right, 10 facts about me. And I know the channel is small, so if anyone wants to go ahead and write in the comments or write on like my profile wall things they want to know about me, I'll try to answer those, but for the most part I'll probably just come up with some questions of my own, and they might start generic, but as we get along, I'll probably build them up a little bit more. But if you guys have any questions for me, please let me know in the comments, or like I said, shoot me a message. So I can't wait to play video games with you guys again, so I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye. Dark Souls 3 comes out in April this year, and I'm very excited about it, because the first Dark Souls game technically I did play Demon Souls for like an hour, but Dark Souls 2 was actually one of the first videos I did on the channel, and I was horrible at it. I was so bad, it couldn't really be compared. And then actually someone through the channel got me a copy of Dark Souls 1, and